Sorry it's taken me so long to get a follow-up on my Tradesman Edge, but now it's time for me to do a review. I've been talking to Jeff Toyson, the designer of the Tradesman Edge and the owner of CUTTERMASTERs. CUTTERMASTERs is a company that makes sharpening equipment for industry, for machinists, aerospace. Their machines are very high-tech, very precise. The concept is to be able to sharpen something and then to go back and be able to resharpen it exactly the same a year later or however long. And it takes special equipment to be able to do that. Having a machine designed for resharpeners, as the Tradesman Edge is, that's a totally different beast. And Jeff asked if I'd give input on it, and we've been working on this for a few months. It's so versatile now and capable. There's been changes to the resin diamond wheels to make them cut faster. The belts have been modified so they're more flexible. Work in the back, work in the front. You can remove them. You can remove one. You can put two on. Whatever you want to do. The speeds, you can pick your own speeds, not just with the rheostat, but you can change the gearing on what is inside. This is the gear set that's inside the machine, and you, by simply changing the size of the two wheels and the belt, you can alter it to make it work better for what you want. Using my RPM tester, I've got mine to where they're going 200 RPM at the low and 1200 at the high. And keep in mind, that's 1200 with a 10-inch wheel. That thing's screaming fast. When I get it running, it is absolutely, it's like a Swiss watch. It's so smooth and quiet. Here's my mic. Let me stick my mic on it and you can hear how it sounds. You can barely hear it. I'm going to run it up to full speed. This is the squirt bottle I used to cool my stones and to keep the dust down. They do make a little bit of dust. It just takes a single squirt each side. Sometimes you give it a second squirt if you're doing something heavy. There's other ways to wet the wheels too, but this is what works for me. When I'm running a belt, it takes a few more squirts, but then the belt holds more water, so that works out pretty good. One of the things I didn't mention is that I love how the wheels stay the same size. I don't have to deal with one wheel being big and one wheel being small when you use the Tormax stones. And that's a real advantage coming up when I use my laser beam to align. Okay, so for starters, I've got my laser on and set up. That's going to be in another video. I'll go into details about it. Basically, it mounts overhead and you can see it on my fingers. It's on the exact same spot on both wheels. Put it right up to that and do passes, run through my secondary process, put on a micro bevel on this side, and the alignment's very accurate. Usually what I do for the micro bevel, I'll come down a 1/4 inch, and that gives me the angle that I've calculated out. On this one, I usually don't even put water on because it's such a light pass. This thing's pretty thick still, but it cuts nice. I've been running about 50 seconds a knife the last time I was out. This is just a U-line catalog. I quarter the pages so they're easier to manage, and I can do this as well. Light pass, very little pressure. I see it curling the burr to the next. Light pressure again on the micro bevel. I want to have a burr that's very weak. You have to be careful when you use this Levi strop. I've tested knives on a best tester. One of my subscribers actually stopped by a farmer's market. And lucky for him, I was pretty slow. So I could spend time with him and show him stuff, and we played with the best tester a bit. This one's got a long finger guard. I'm going to show you how I deal with that. I do it after I get everything else done so that I know clearly where the edge of the knife is. Okay, so I got a loud finger guard here. These diamond resin wheels are great. I'd be hesitant not to do this on a regular diamond wheel. I've talked to a lot of people about it. You know, comments people make in the comment section. And guys that do a lot of knives like me, or even less than me, but still they're doing a lot of knives. Ooh, that feels real bitey, but that, to me, that usually is telling me there's a micro burr left. It was nice that so many people chimed in to let me know that they got the same problem. And I do feel like I have the solution. It's not a different wheel, it's not a tool, it's more of a attitude. Since I've been using these resin wheels, having my wheels not change size all the time, you know, I'd go through 3 SG250s a year. The Japanese stone lasted quite a bit longer, maybe 2.5 years for one stone. But also, if you strop too much, it wears the edge down pretty fast. So you kind of have to find that sweet spot. Now, I've talked to guys that are really good, the usual suspects, like mainly Matt Hendricks. And he touches the edge like this, he feels the edge, you know, like you should. And he can tell if there's a micro burr left. So, you know, he deals with it, but I find my fingers don't tolerate me doing that. I don't have the sensitivity. They're too leathery from doing too much. Or you'll have a cold day, your fingers are a little wet. Not nearly as wet as using a Tormek with this, but your fingers get a little wet. And you can't feel anything, you know. So I needed something that was a little more dependable, and I was very used to the paper test. It's the exact same paper test I'll do after this. And I find it gives me a feedback that I can suspect a burr being left. This equipment is just so much faster than what I had before. I don't know if it's, I know it makes a difference that both these wheels are the same size. Having one wheel that's gotten small and the other one big is one problem, but I can't use the laser if I do that. And this laser, this is huge for accuracy and my speed. Okay, so that's my knives. And let me show you a little closer this laser beam, how it looks to me when I look down on it. You know, whenever you photograph these laser beams, they look wider than they are. They flare in the chip in the camera. But there you go. That's what it looks like. And you take the knife and you line it right up on that. You know, you can see how you can totally use that as a super accurate guide. And that's why I say it's almost like doing a jig. It's quite good. I just line it up like that. That's it. Okay, so when I'm sharpening regular knives, I'm working right here. But I've got this single bevel that I need to work on. So I'm going to pull this up. And I have the option to put on a curved platen, but for this I'm going to go with it flat. And I set it up so that I can look down in between the two. Man, that was so close. I almost forgot about this knife. I would have had to come back out here and do it. It was one of the things I wanted to show you. This is really one of the reasons that I'm trying leaving a belt on one of the arms, just so it's always ready to go. I mean, when you use the resin wheels, they're expensive as hell, but they're still cheaper than belts. I go through a belt a day, and they're about $10 to get the waterproof ones. That's way more than the resin wheels, because I've been using the resin wheels for quite a while, and I haven't yet noticed them changing size. So they're a pretty economical, in the long run, way to go. Okay.